Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about pharmaceuticals. Everyone's, everyone's making money off Pfizer. People are starting to make money off Moderna. It feels like spring 2022 all over again. But what I really wanted to focus on specifically was how you can use flow to actually detect what may be a move, what may not be a move in this sector. So one of the things that I'm looking at here is how was the outside the money betting on something like Pfizer? The reason why is because, as we may or may not know, hold on, I'm going to close that. Okay. The reason why we may or may not know is because of the fact that on Tuesday, Biden's going to be speaking on COVID. Obviously, there's going to be some tickers name dropped, as you know, has happened in the past year previously. So what I'm really looking for is to see, okay, we've got Biden speaking on Tuesday. The market obviously knows this. How is the activity on the 1223 and further out strikes, the 121, the 1223? So what I see here is encouraging is this activity on the 1223, the 61 call. It's outside the money. The 121 here getting a little bit of action, but not enough to make me say, oh my God. Oh my God. So as I've done before, second thing I'm going to do is immediately go check the historical flow on PFE, on Pfizer, and to see what I see for that 61 call. So I go to the 61. What do I see? I see volume from Thursday that was good. I see volume from Friday that was good. I see the volume increasing, which is a positive sign, but I don't see a huge spike in the open interest between the days. So a lot of contracts changing hands, but not as many held as you might want, but still a high number. So with that, we're going to say it's a negligible, right? So I'm going to go over to the chart really quick. I'm going to look at PFE. Oops. I'm going to look at PFE. Let's try that again. Okay. So when I'm looking at Pfizer, what I'm seeing is that it was down 3% on the day, right? On Friday, though, it did come close to touching that 61.5 level. So if I go back here and look, I see that 61 with the volume. That volume makes sense because those calls went in the money, right? So I can't necessarily look to that as an indicator. If I go out to the 61.5, where we saw that activity, it's loading for the 1223 here, 1223, 61.5. Not too much activity, weirdly enough. So next, I'm going to think to myself, okay, what will give me a real idea of what's going on with Pfizer, what's going on with Moderna, if we can still bank on these after such a rise. So what I'm going to do is go over to Moderna. For those who don't know, I'm always clicking quick view to get a snapshot. And here, this is what caught my eye. So not the 121 300s, right, which are at the money, but look at the volume on the 330C 1223, right? That's well outside the money. You're looking at just over 2 volume to open interest, so nothing crazy, but definitely something of interest. And then I'm going to go to the 330C here in the historical view, and I see that that volume did in fact come in on Friday. So let's go to look at the chart now. Let's go check out Moderna. So I've got some old ass chart stuff there from the first time I should have bought them. All right, so we see them rising almost 5% on Friday. What we see here is them topping out at about 296.92. So when I look at this, I see a stock that was nowhere near being at the money for the 330. I see it topping out at the 296.98, so it wasn't like a pop then drop like we saw with Pfizer, for example. When we go back to PFE, right, we see it had that pop and drop, and that explained its volume, but none of those things really explain the volume that we saw for the Moderna 330Cs. So what I'm saying to myself is this: there's a couple of different things that could be happening. One is people are not expecting Pfizer to continue its run after the Tuesday speech. Another thing that I'm thinking is that people might see Moderna as getting more shine. Granted, it had a better day than Pfizer, but you can't deny comparatively, the outside the money interest for Moderna with that 330C compared to Pfizer with the 61.5, and then of course, as we pulled up, the 61. So keeping in mind that these were the money. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that for me to feel like Pfizer's going to keep going, I would have to track this OI and volume again into Monday, maybe even Tuesday morning with the volume, to see if this picks up. Because right now, that's not too enticing. But what is enticing is this flow of Moderna at the 330 for 1223. What that says to me, since it's so far outside the money, is that there's potential that people think maybe Tuesday Moderna's going to get a little bit more attention, or probably more likely, with how much the Moderna CEO runs his mouth, he's probably got something positive to say about early results, timetable, something like that. So if I were to bet on one of these two right now, I'd be betting on Moderna, keeping a close eye on the volume on Monday, comparing it between Pfizer, making that money on Moderna, and then immediately going to flush it down the toilet on my favorite stock to throw away fucking money on, Palantir.